on your Saturday. I know it's hot. We are feeling the effects of climate change.
Oops.
That's why we have to show up. As Frida mentioned, yeah, I've been doing this work for 8 years now, and I know there have been people who have been fighting for climate justice and justice for decades and decades longer. But I've been feeling that weight a lot lately, right? Like it's very hard to keep fighting something for so long. And I was driving across Pennsylvania recently, where I'm from, which is being absolutely destroyed by the fossil fuel industry. And I realized like I have to actually compartmentalize the harm that I know is being done to communities. Because I have met so many communities over the last 8 years who their air now poisons them. Their water is poisoning them. And I know just how many projects are being built, the amount of money that these people are pouring into the wrong direction. And it's hard. I have to compartmentalize it, because if I think about all the damage at one time, there's days that I can't get out of bed. And you know, now being 8 years into the movement, when I first started, I felt like I was kind of the youth, you know, especially working in the fracking movement. There's a lot of older people involved. But now I'm kind of an auntie in the movement, you know. There's a lot of very young people like Ade and Anna, and people who are even younger like Madeline. You know, there's a 12-year-old leading the fight now. And so that's one of the things that gives me hope, right? These young kids. And I'm actually an aunt now. My sister had a baby, and she started giving birth while we were in Brownsville, where Ade and Anna live. Amazing community members were willing to put their body on the line to stop construction. And like we were literally about to go deploy, and I get like a text that my sister is like going into birth. So I mean, there was never more a clear moment for me. You know, I've been doing this work a long time about why we need to shut down all these fossil fuels. And I'm really grateful for Frida for coming here and connecting the fights. Because so much we get so wrapped up in our own fight that we're trying to do. We need to connect all these fights. Yes. Because one, they're connected in so many ways. They're all funded by the same rich assholes. These people, these banks.
Talk about it.
The banks that are funding the North Brooklyn pipeline are the same kind of banks that are funding the Mountain Valley pipeline and Line 3 and Dakota Access. These same insurance companies. It is the same system. This system of fossil fuel capital that is propping up these projects. And, you know, but we are actually literally connected. You know, there's a lot of these overarching things that connect our fights, but Con Edison, which is one of the monopoly utilities here in New York.
Talk about it.
So on this land, on this occupied Lenape land, Con Edison is the gas utility. And in 2020, they got approval from New York State. Governor Cuomo's Public Service Commission allowed them to jack up bills for Con Ed customers here in Manhattan. And part of that rate hike is a contract with the Mountain Valley Pipeline.
Whoa.
So right before a pandemic hit this city and people started struggling even more financially than they already were, their bills are going up to pay for destruction in Virginia and West Virginia. And it's awful. And it's not just the Mountain Valley Pipeline. Con Ed bills are going up right now because they are expanding a frack gas pipeline all the way down from the Westchester to the South Bronx. And they're expanding a pipeline in Astoria right now. That's hundreds of millions of dollars going to new fracked gas pipelines in 2021.
Whoa.
It's absolutely insane.
We don't need no more toxic infrastructure, period.
It's insane. It is our money. They are extracting wealth from our communities to pay for their pipelines. And National Grid over in Brooklyn is doing the exact same thing. And Sane Energy has been so grateful to fight in the No North Brooklyn Pipeline Coalition alongside the community in Brownsville and Brownsville Residents Green Committee and the community in Bushwick with Frack Out of BK. And it really has been the community. It's always the community that stands up for this. The only time politicians ever listen and do the right thing is when we make them. And so right now we are fighting back in a very specific way against the North Brooklyn Pipeline. Next month, on August 12th, Governor Cuomo's Public Service Commission is set to vote on whether National Grid gets to jack up our monthly bills over in Brooklyn, the same thing that they just did here in Manhattan for Con Ed. They want to do over across the river, and they want us to pay $129 million they spent in 2020, in 2021, as we're seeing the climate crisis all around us and we are struggling to breathe, struggling to pay our bills. They want us to pay more. So we are saying, hell no! We are not going to pay for your pipeline. We will not pay for our own destruction. And we are on a gas bill strike. And while we know individual actions is not how we combat climate change, we are individually being all impacted on our bills. So we are collectively coming together and withholding the money, 66 bucks that National Grid is not going to get from us, because we will not pay for their secret racist ass pipeline. We will not do it. And so this is what needs to be happening all across the country. We need to realize our fights are connected, because look, it looked like a scene from Titanic here just a week ago. Our subways were flooding. And as Frida said, there's not enough boats. And we know who the people were on the Titanic who didn't get in the boat, right? They locked poor people in the bottom of the Titanic and sacrificed them so that rich people could survive and get on those lifeboats. And that is exactly what is happening today. Our communities are being sacrificed for Wall Street profits.
We won't let them.
We're not going to let them. We are literally shutting down their pipelines when they build them in our communities, and we are taking back our power by taking back our money. So if you're in Brooklyn, please join the gas bill strike. You can go to nonbkpipeline.org/strike. If you're a Con Ed customer, let them know you don't want to be paying for their pipelines either. And so when they send these texts or when they send these warnings about reliability, right, and the worst thing they're trying to do now is they are trying to scare us with climate change disasters to try to scare us into building more fossil fuels. We heard Con Ed say, well, look at this heat wave. This is why we need frac gas power plants on the system. And National Grid is saying, look what happened in Texas when people didn't have power. This is why we need reliability. Their exact infrastructure is what is causing our climate to no longer be reliable. To make us constantly be worried if our homes are going to get washed away in a flood like we just saw in Germany. Those people are just living their daily lives, and their communities are radically different. And look, when Hurricane Sandy hit, Wall Street flooded, so did the Rockaways. How quick were they to be cleaning up Wall Street and it was back to normal? When people are still fixing their homes out in Rockaway. So just once again, thank you so much for being here. I want you all to recognize you have so much power. I know when you're looking at a building like this, it is hard to feel that power, but hearing Ade speak, seeing you all here today has given me so much more enthusiasm when it's tough, when I'm burnt out, to keep doing this fight. And I love you all, and we are going to do this. We are going to save our communities. No more frac gas, we can do it.